All right, everyone, we have head coach Porter Moser here. We'll start with Bob Prisbillo.
Porter, on a weekend like this, are you really going to find out about the conditioning? You emphasize that so much, but 3 games in 4 days when you haven't gone through that stretch whatsoever, how, I don't know, intrigued are you to learn about where your team stands?
I am, both mentally and physically, because they're young guys. I mean, it is taxing, but mentally too, you know, just to fight through being tired, fight through being sore. You know, they haven't done this in a long time. But it's great for us to prepare for, you know, later months. But I'm looking forward to also see how we fight through mentally as much as physically.
And then I know last Friday wasn't a perfect performance, but it was pretty dang good for what you would expect in the first week of the season. So what's sort of been the attitude with the guys with these practices since?
You know, I know I'm going to sound redundant, but and repetitive, but it's about getting better. You know, we really broke down and just saw all the areas where we could have done better. You know, our balls, we were better than the first game defensively. And I still think we have some areas we can get better at. Same thing offensively. You know, I think that's the whole thing. This next game, you know, rebounding is going to be at a premium. We're going to have to block out. They rebound almost 33% of their misses. Transition, we have to stop them in transition. Really talking about getting back, making that wall. But there's a lot, you know, for our guys, and we just want to keep having that mantra of getting better game by game.
Appreciate it, Porter.
You got it, Bob.
All right, next question will be for Colton Sully, OU Daily.
Hey, Porter, I want to ask you about Newton for East Carolina. Not only can he score, but he can rebound and pass the ball really well. What kind of challenge does he bring, and what does your defense need to do against him to continue to play as dominant as we've seen so far?
Well, he really got his confidence going. I mean, he can really shoot it from deep. He hit 5 threes last game. I think they're all in the first half too. But he's long. He's a 6'5" point. He's long. We just got to, just like anytime you see somebody on that kind of a roll, you try to disrupt him. He's going so well right now, but he makes a lot happen for him. When you're through 3 games averaging 22, you know, he's definitely a key player. But for him, he's just so long and he's got confidence in his shot. We gotta really be where he is on the floor at all times.
Yeah, Porter. And then how do these mid-season tournaments help bring a team together? And then also, how do they help for recruiting? I think you guys are scheduled to go to Orlando next year, play some pretty good teams.
Yeah, you know, there's so many good things about them. You know, one is it's you find out about your team. You know, the turn back-to-back nights preparing for a tournament-like setting. You find out, you know, the competition, how it helps in recruiting. It helps great. I know we got a bunch lined up here in the near future, and this one as well, being on ESPN. So got a lot of good stuff. I mean, the recruiting part, yeah, we talk about that a lot in the offseason. Right now, we're just talking about the competition, what it's going to do for our team.
Thanks, Porter.
Next up, Eric Bailey.
Hey, Porter, it's good to see you again.
Eric.
I wanted to ask you just about, you're learning a lot about your team. What about your first road trip? I mean, there's so much you're teaching and learning as a group. How important is it for you just to them to understand? I know this isn't a typical road trip because it's a tournament setting, but just how you handle road trips and things like that.
You know, how I handle road trips is almost eerily similar to what Rick Majerus did. And I've took so much from him, but you try to be as normal as possible with the prep. It's the same prep. It's the same thing. We got to defend, we got to rebound, we got to our transition, like it's the same thing. You don't make a big deal about that. You know, and for us, we got a lot of shots up today in the arena. That was big. I always think that's really important to get shots up and get a feel for the arena. But, you know, how we handle it the same way, you know, in terms of our prep, you know, what we have to do to stop with our keys to winning, you know, things we've got to eliminate that can get us beat. So it's more about that than really making a huge emphasis of being on the road.
And talking about being intrigued about new things, what about you guys haven't had a close game? It's going to happen at some point where you're going to get inside of 5 minutes and it's going to be crunch time. Are you kind of intrigued to how these guys will react to that moment?
Absolutely. That's how you grow. That's how you grow as a team. And is you learn, you get better. And that's the thing that our teams, you know, that we're looking for, is see execution, who's stepping up down the stretch. Because you need those players down the stretch to in those moments to step up. But yeah, it's going to come, and we're going to learn. We're going to learn and grow and get better, and hopefully end up on the right side of it.
Porter, thanks a bunch. You have a good week. Good luck this weekend.
All right, thanks, Eric.
All right, next questions will be for James Hale.
Hi, Porter. This is going to be a fun tournament for you, or series of games for you in Myrtle Beach. You already talked about Newton. I was going to ask you about East Carolina and what you think about them as a whole. I think that Goldwire or Harkless on Newton, that's going to be worth the price of admission right there. It's a great point guard, great defensive guards. And see, I don't mind defensive games. I don't mind defensive guards. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, we are too. I mean, we got confidence in Jordan and Elijah and, Mose Garden. But I will say this about their lineup about East Carolina.
Okay.
They're one of the biggest lineups we'll face. Literally, Newton's the point. He's 6'5". Suggs is 6'6".
Right.
Miles is 6'7". Then Vance Jackson's 6'9", and the big boy's 7 foot. Very, very long and athletic. That's why rebounding, transition defense is going to be huge. But we also got to get up. I mean, they get streaky from three. I mean, like, they're not really streaky, but they're efficient from three. I mean, like they can get it going. And so we got to guard that 3-point line. But their length and athleticism is something that we've been really talking about these last couple of days.
Can't you turn that around though? If you're not quite as big, they've got to keep up with you, with your transition and things like that. They got to guard you too.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we've really been doing well, is having some offense created by our defense. I was really pleased in the second half of that last game. You really saw a lot of defensive stops translate into baskets, and that's what you want. That's how we want to play. I've said this many times too. You talk about defense and sometimes young kids, but we're trying to get these guys excited about playing defense because it's going to lead to offense, because we're going to get stops. We're going to get turnovers. So we're coming in that area.
Porter, thanks. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Thanks. Good luck.
Yeah.
Josh Calloway.
Yeah, Porter, I wanted to ask you, and you've kind of alluded to it a little bit already, but just how big, a trip like this is for chemistry building for these guys. I mean, so many of them, never even knew each other until this past off season. Just the chance to get on the road and stay in a hotel with each other for 4 or 5 days, just from that perspective, even more than just improving on the court, but kind of building the relationships off the court a little bit.
For sure. Road trips definitely do that. Unequivocally. That's a great byproduct of road trips. They're hanging out in the hotels. We went to dinner last night. We walked through, they're meeting downstairs, or, they're hanging up on the floors. Definitely road trips. I mean, I remember as a player, back when I played, we played cards all the time. We played euchre. Now it seems like everyone's on a game or on a phone, but like, it's definitely something that it brings teams together. Eating out, eating in the hotel, walking through, and that's definitely, we're excited about this trip.
Appreciate it, Porter.
All right, final question for Coach will be Bubba with the Sports Objective, ECU affiliate.
Good evening, Coach. As I take a look at your roster, obviously Tanner Groves jumps out, the transfer from Eastern Washington, MVP of the Big Sky Conference a season ago. He's been very impressive early on. If you would talk about his play and what he brings to your program.
Tanner's come right in and earned a lot of respect and a lot of leadership because of how hard he plays, combined with how vocal he is. He's one of our most vocal players. He just has a passion to play. He's an inside-out threat. We can post him up and we can stretch him. But he wants to win. I mean, he's not caught up in the numbers. He just wants to win at a high level. He got on the taste of the NCAA tournament last year. He just wants to win, compete. But he's an easy kid to root for because of how hard he goes every day in practice.